today, we're going to discuss the forms of quadratic functions. For this video lesson, or after watching this video lesson, you should be able to determine the vertex, the axis of symmetry, the X-intercepts, and the Y-intercept of a quadratic function, and transform a quadratic function from one form to another. So we have three forms here: the general form, the vertex form, and the intercept form of quadratic functions. For the general form of a quadratic function, it is given by f of x is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, where a, b, and c are real numbers, and a must not be equal to 0. For the general form of quadratic function, let us have these following notes. If a is greater than 0, the graph opens upward, and the graph has a minimum point. So for example, this is the parabola. This is the vertex that serves as the minimum point of the graph. If a is less than 0, the graph opens downward, and the vertex is the maximum point. So if we're going to illustrate it in a graph po, so yan po yung ating graph. And this is the maximum point of the parabola. The vertex will be denoted as V, the coordinates HK, where H is equal to negative B over 2A. So we're going to identify the values of B and A to find for H. For the values of K, we're going to substitute the value that we get from H to the given function. The axis of symmetry is a vertical line whose equation is x is equal to h, or x is equal to negative b over 2a. So kung ano po yung ating value ng h will be written into an equation x is equal to h. For the y-intercept, we're going to substitute 0 to x, and therefore, the value that we get from f of 0, which is equal to the constant, represents the y-intercept of the given function. For the x-intercepts, it occurs when f of x is equal to 0, and we're going to solve for the values of x using the different methods such as factoring, completing the square root property, and using quadratic formula. So, i-recall po natin yung mga methods na to find the x-intercepts of the given quadratic function. Let us take this example. We have the given quadratic function, f of x is equal to 3x squared plus 12x plus 4. We're going to find the vertex. But before that, let us first identify the values of a, b, and c. A is equal to 3, b is equal to 12, and c is equal to 4. What is the formula for h? Since we are going to denote the vertex as the coordinates of hk. On the previous slide, we discussed that h is equal to negative b over 2a. Then, we have negative 12 for b over 2 times 3 is equal to negative 12 divided by 2 times 3 is 6. Therefore, the value of h is equal to negative 2. To find the value of k, we're going to substitute negative 2 to the function f of x. So we have f of negative 2 is equal to 3 times negative 2 squared plus 12 times negative 2 plus 4. Then simplify. 3 times negative 2, or the quantity of negative 2 squared, is equal to positive 4. 12 times negative 2 is negative 24 plus 4. Then we have 12 minus 24 plus 4 is equal to negative 8. Therefore, if k is equal to f of negative 2, which is equal to negative 8. Therefore, the coordinates of the vertex is at negative 2, negative 8. We have the same given quadratic equation, and we're going to find the axis of symmetry, or AOS, as we denote for the axis of symmetry. For the axis of symmetry, we have the equation x is equal to h. And from the vertex that we get earlier, we have the vertex which is located at negative 2, negative 8. And since V is represented by HK, therefore, the axis of symmetry is equal to negative 2. We have the given quadratic equation f of x is equal to 3x squared plus 12x plus 4. Let us find the y-intercept. We have earlier f of 0 is equal to the constant or the value of c in the given quadratic function f of x is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. And the value of c represent the y-intercept of the given function. And therefore, in this given function, the value of the y-intercept is equal to 4. This means that the y-intercept is 0, 4. We're going to find the x-intercepts of the given function f of x is equal to 3x squared plus 12x plus 4. You can do the factoring method or any way on how you're going to find the x-intercepts or the zeros of the given function. But I will show you the quadratic formula. And how we're going to find the x-intercept. We have here x is equal to negative b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And in this given function, the values of a is equal to 3, the value of b is equal to 12, and c is equal to positive 4. Let us substitute the given values to this formula. X is equal to negative 12 plus minus the square root of 12 squared minus 4 times 3 times 4 all over 2 times 3. Then, simplify. We have negative 12 plus minus 12 squared is 144 minus 4 times 3 is 12 times 4 is 48 all over 6 since 2 times 3. Let us continue solving for x. X is equal to negative 12 plus minus square root of 144 minus 48 is equal to 96 all over 6. X is equal to negative 12 plus minus the factors of 96, which is a perfect square, is 16 by 6 all over 6. X is equal to negative 12 plus minus the square root of 16 is 4, and 16 is not a perfect square. So we're going to remain it inside the radical sign all over 6. If we're going to simplify this fraction, we have x is equal to negative 12 divided by 6 is equal to negative 2 plus minus 4 divided by 6. So can express this into 2 over 3 square root of 6. Or if we're going to separate the values of x, since we have positive, negative here, we have negative 2 plus 2/3 square root of 6, 0, and negative 2 minus 2/3 square root of 6, 0. So these are the x-intercepts of the given function. Let us come now to the vertex form of a quadratic function, which is given by f of x is equal to a times the quantity x minus h squared plus k, where h and k represent the vertex of the parabola. Di ba po yung ating vertex h, k. And we have these notes. If a is greater than 0, the graph opens upward and the graph has a minimum point. If a is less than 0, the graph opens downward and the vertex represents the maximum point of the graph. And take note po that the value of a in the vertex form is the same value of a in its general form. And the vertex is represented by v, the coordinates h, k. The axis of symmetry is a vertical line whose equation is x is equal to h. So the same lang din po ng nasa general form. When you substitute x is equal to 0 in the equation, f of x is equal to a times the quantity x minus h squared plus k. The value of a h squared plus k represent the y-intercept of the given function. So, naging ganito po siya. 0 and h squared plus k represent the y-intercept. The x-intercepts occur when the value of the function f of x is equal to 0. 0 is equal to a times the quantity x minus h squared plus k. So we're going to use the square root property here to solve for the x-intercepts of the given function. We are to describe the general form and the vertex form here. So in the left side is the general form, on the right side we have the vertex form. If we're going to analyze the function in general form and in the vertex form, we can say that the value of b is equal to negative 2ah, and the value of c is equal to ah squared plus k po. Thus, the value of h, as we have earlier po, is equal to negative b over 2a. And the value of k here, instead of substituting the value of h from the given function, we can solve k using this formula. 4ac minus b squared all over 4a. So, nanggaling po siya dito sa ating equation. ah squared plus k is equal to c. We have here the given function f of x is equal to negative 2 times the quantity x minus 1 squared minus 2. And we're going to find the vertex. We have here the vertex form f of x is equal to a times the quantity x minus h squared plus k. Since minus po ito, we're going to use this value here as our h. Therefore, h is equal to 1. Same naman po yung kanilang sign po, minus sign po. Then, since positive po yung k dito and negative po yung ating sign or minus po yung nandito, we can have k is equal to negative 2 po. Kasi negative po siya. So, dapat pag plus po, or we can write it as plus times negative 2. Kaya negative 2 po yung ating K. We have here same equation as our previous slide po. And we're going to find the axis of symmetry from the vertex that we have found out earlier, which is at positive 1, negative 2. Since 1 lang po yung H and negative 2 po yung ating K. And since the axis of symmetry has an equation x is equal to H, and this positive 1 here represent H and this negative 2 represent K. Therefore, the axis of symmetry is x is equal to 1. For the y-intercept of this given function, we're going to use h squared plus k, which is equal to the value of the y-intercept. Using the values of a, h, and k, we have y is equal to a negative 2, h is equal to positive 1, and k is equal to negative 2. Simplifying, we have y is equal to negative 2, 1 squared is equal to 1, and plus negative 2. Therefore, y is equal to negative 2 minus 2, which is equal to negative 4. And we have the coordinates 0, negative 4 for our y-intercept. For the x-intercepts of this given function, f of x is equal to negative 2 times the quantity x minus 1 squared minus 2. We're going to use the square root property. And we're going to let f of x is equal to 0. We have 0 is equal to negative 2 times the quantity x minus 1 squared minus 2. We're going to transpose negative 2 to the left. We have positive 2 is equal to negative 2 times the quantity x minus 1 squared. Then, dividing both sides by negative 2. So, negative 2 divided by negative 2 is equal to 1. And then 2 divided by negative 2 is equal to negative 1. Equals to the quantity x minus 1 squared. Since square po yung nandito, we're going to take the square root of both sides since ang exponent po natin dito is 2. And we're going to have the positive negative square root of negative 1 is equal to the square root of x minus 1 squared. Cancel square root here and cancel the exponent 2. Positive negative square root of negative 1 is equal to 1 times I squared. Is equal to x minus 1 na lang po. Then, positive negative square root of I squared is equal to positive negative I na lang po. Since the square root of 1 is 1, square root of I squared is I. Equals to x minus 1. Then, we have 1, nilipat yung negative 1 sa left, naging positive po siya, plus minus I is equal to x. Then, the x-intercepts are 1 plus minus I po yung ating value. Or if we're going to separate 1 plus I and 1 minus I. And the x-intercepts that we get are not real roots or not real solutions po. Since they are imaginary numbers po. Since meron pong I. So, ibig sabihin po, the graph has no real x-intercepts po. In this example, we're going to write an equation in vertex form from a general form. And we're going to identify the vertex, the axis of symmetry, and the direction of the opening of the parabola. The equation given is y is equal to negative 3x squared minus 12x minus 7. We're going to first separate the terms with variables. We have negative 3x squared minus 12x from negative 7. We're going to write the value of a before the parentheses. So, magiging x squared na lang po ito. Then, 12x divided by negative 3 is negative 4x. Then, since ito ay minus, magiging plus 4x po siya. Minus 7. Next step, we're going to complete this square po. The terms inside the parentheses. Then, magiging negative 3x squared plus 4x plus the third term minus 7 minus the value added to this parentheses multiplied to the value of a to make this equation balanced. Therefore, we have y is equal to negative 3 times the quantity x squared plus 4x. The third term will be 4 divided by 2 is 2. Then square of 2 is equal to 4. This trinomial here is now a perfect square. Minus 7 minus negative 3 times 4 is equal to negative 12. Then we have y is equal to negative 3. Then factor this perfect square trinomial. Square root of x squared is x. Square root of 4 is 2. The sign of the middle term is plus. Therefore, the factor of this trinomial or this perfect square trinomial is the quantity of x plus 2 squared minus 7. Then negative times negative become positive 12. Then we have y is equal to negative 3 times the quantity x plus 2 squared plus 5. So ito na po yung ating equation in vertex form. To find the vertex, we have the coordinates of hk. From the vertex form, f of x is equal to a times the quantity x minus h squared plus k. Since ito ay minus and ito ay plus, so yung ating h ay maging negative 2. And yung ating k, since ito ay plus and plus din po ito, so we're going to copy 5. Therefore, the vertex of this given quadratic function is at negative 2, 5. And the axis of symmetry is the value of h. Thus, x is equal to negative 2 as our axis of symmetry. And the direction of the opening of the parabola, since a here, a is less than 0, therefore, the parabola opens downward. For this given example, we're going to convert this vertex form of quadratic function into the general form. And we are also to identify the vertex, the axis of symmetry, and the direction of the opening of the parabola. We have here this given function y is equal to 3 times the quantity x plus 3 squared minus 4, which is written in vertex form. We have y is equal to a times the quantity x minus h squared plus k. Then, we are to determine the vertex of this function. V, the coordinates of hk. Then, the vertex is at negative 3, negative 4. Since ito po ay plus, and the sign here is minus. So if we're going to write it in x minus h, we have x minus negative 3. And the axis of symmetry, which is x is equal to h, then x is equal to negative 3. So yun po yung ating axis of symmetry. And the direction of the opening of the parabola, we have a is greater than 0, therefore the parabola opens upward. Let us now convert this equation into the general form. We have y is equal to 3, and we're going to expand this square of binomial. Since a plus b, or the quantity of a plus b squared, is equal to a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So we're going to follow this special product. So square of x is x squared. X times 3 is 3x. And multiplied by 2 is equal to 6x. And since the sign here is plus, the middle term will be plus. And the third term will be the square of 3, which is equal to 9, minus 4. Let us distribute 3 to the terms inside the parentheses. Then we have 3 times x squared, 3x squared, plus 3 times 6x is 18x, plus 3 times 9 is 27, minus 4. Then we have y is equal to 3x squared plus 18x plus 23. So this is now the equation in general form of this given equation in vertex form. Let us come now to the intercept form of quadratic function. And it is given by f of x is equal to a times the quantity x minus r sub 1 times the quantity x minus r sub 2, where the coordinates r sub 1, 0 and r sub 2, 0 are the x-intercepts of f of x. And we have these notes. If a is greater than 0, the graph opens upward and the vertex is the minimum point. If a is less than 0, the graph opens downward and the vertex serves as the maximum point. Note that the value of a in the intercept form is the same value of a in its vertex form and general form. The vertex is v coordinates hk, where h is equal to r sub 1 plus r sub 2 of all over 2. And k is equal to f of h, or f of r sub 1 plus r sub 2 all over 2. And the axis of symmetry is represented by the equation x is equal to the sum of r sub 1 and r sub 2 all over 2. And the value of y when x is equal to 0 is equal to the product of a r sub 1 r sub 2. And the x-intercepts are r sub 1, 0, r sub 2, 0. Let us have this given quadratic function y is equal to 1/3 times the quantity x plus 3 times the quantity x minus 1. We're going to find the vertex of this given function. The vertex is represented by hk, where h is equal to the sum of r sub 1 and r sub 2 all over 2. In this given function, we have y is equal to a times x, or the quantity of x minus r sub 1, times the quantity of x minus r sub 2. Therefore, in this given quadratic function, r sub 1 is equal to negative 3 since plus po ang sign po dito and dito po ay minus. So, we can write it as negative times negative 3 is equal to plus 3 or positive 3. And r sub 2 is equal to 1. Then, we can have the value of h now. We have negative 3 plus 1 over 2 is equal to negative 2 since negative 3 plus 1 all over 2. And the simplified form is equal to negative 1. So, h is equal to negative 1. Since h is equal to negative 1, we're going to use this value to find the value of k. It's equal to 1/3 times negative 1 plus 3 times negative 1 minus 1 is equal to 1/3 times the quantity negative 1 plus 3 is positive 2 times negative 1 times the quantity of negative 1 minus 1 is equal to negative 2. Then we have 1/3 times 2 times negative 2 is equal to negative 4/3. Therefore, the vertex of this function is at negative 1, negative 4/3. The same quadratic function is given in our previous slide. And we're going to find the axis of symmetry. We already determined the vertex of this function, which is at negative 1, negative 4 over 3. Since x is equal to h, which represent the axis of symmetry, therefore, x is equal to negative 1 from the coordinates of the vertex h, k. We have here y is equal to 1/3 times the quantity x plus 3 times the quantity x minus 1. We're going to find the y-intercept. Since the given function is in intercept form, which is y is equal to a times the quantity x minus r sub 1 times the quantity x minus r sub 2. And we're going to find the y-intercept using f of 0. We're going to let x equals to 0. Then, the value of the y-intercept is equal to the product of a times r sub 1, r sub 2. In this given function, r sub 1 is equal to negative 3. Since plus po ito, minus po ito, di ba po? So, we have negative times negative 3. And r sub 2 is equal to 1. And the value of a is equal to 1/3. Substitute the values of a, r sub 1, and r sub 2 in this given formula. We have 1/3 times negative 3 times 1. We have 1/3 times negative 3. So we can cancel po. So magiging negative 1 na lang po since negative 3 divided by 3 is equal to negative 1 times 1, which is equal to negative 1. Therefore, the y-intercept of this given quadratic function is at 0, negative 1. For this slide, we're going to find the value of the x-intercepts of the given quadratic function. Y is equal to 1/3 times the quantity x plus 3 times the quantity x minus 1. We can easily determine the x-intercepts since the x-intercepts is represented by the values of r sub 1 and r sub 2. If y is equal to 0, r sub 1 is equal to negative 3 from x plus 3 we're going to equate this factor to 0. X is equal to negative 3. And we have R sub 2 is equal to positive 1. From x minus 1 is equal to 0 from here po. And x will be equal to 1. So, yan po yung ating x-intercepts ng given quadratic function. We're going to write this equation or this quadratic function into the general form. We're going to multiply the factors x plus 3 and x minus 1 using the FOIL method. First term to first term, x squared. Outer to outer terms, negative x, since x times negative 1. Inner terms, 3 times x is 3x. Last terms, 3 times negative 1 is equal to negative 3. Then, simplify po natin. X squared, negative x plus 3x is positive 2x minus 3. Then, distribute po natin yung 1/3 sa lahat ng terms po na nasa parentheses. 1/3 x squared. 1/3 times 2x is positive 2/3 x. 1/3 times 3 is 1. And copy minus sign. Therefore, the general form of this quadratic function is y is equal to 1/3 x squared plus 2/3 x minus 1. We are to write the vertex form of this quadratic function y is equal to 1/3 times the quantity x plus 3 times the quantity x minus 1. So we have the same given function from our previous slide po. And we already determined the equation in the general form or the function in the general form, which is y is equal to 1/3 x squared plus 2/3 x minus 1. We are to separate the terms with x from the constant. 1/3 x squared plus 2/3 x minus 1. Then we're going to write the value of a before the parentheses, 1/3. And we're going to factor po the terms inside the parentheses. It will become x squared and 2/3 divided by 1/3. 2/3 divided by 1/3 is equal to 2/3 times the reciprocal of 1/3 is equal to 3/1. Therefore, the product is equal to, cancel na po ito, 2 plus 2x minus 1. Then, complete po natin yung nasa parentheses po. Y is equal to 1/3 times x squared plus 2x plus minus 1 minus blank. What must be the value that we're going to place in this first blank to make this given trinomial a perfect square? We're going to divide 2 by 2. So, 2 divided by 2 is 1. And square of 1 is 1. And we're going to multiply 1 by 1/3 para ilagay po natin dito. Since 1 times 1/3 is 1/3. Then we're going to simplify 1/3. Then we're going to factor this perfect square trinomial. And its factor is the square of binomial. Square root of x squared, x. Square root of 1, 1. And the sign of the middle term is positive or plus. And we're going to simplify po the values here. Since we're going to add these two values or subtract these two values, we're going to make it a similar fraction. And negative 1 is equal to negative 3/3 since 3 po yung ating denominator minus 1/3. Then we have y is equal to 1/3. So square po yan, since square po ng binomial po. X plus 1 squared minus, so negative 3 over 3 minus 1/3 is negative 4/3 po. So ito na po yung ating vertex form ng quadratic function na ito. We're going to write the given equation in intercept form. And the given function is f of x is equal to 2x squared minus 4x minus 6. We have f of x is equal to, we're going to write the value of a 2 times factor out po the given function. Or we're going to divide the given function by 2. So we have x squared minus 4 divided by 2 is 2x. 6 divided by 2 is 3 minus. Then we have f of x is equal to, we're going to factor this trinomial or this quadratic equation. So we have the factors x, and since the constant term is 3, so we're going to have 3 and 1 as the factors of 3. And since negative po ito, one of the value is negative. And since negative po yung ating middle term, so we're going to write the negative sign here to have negative 3x. Since if we're going to add 1x or x into negative 3x, the result is negative 2x. Therefore, the intercept form of this given function is f of x is equal to 2 times the quantity x minus 3 times the quantity x plus 1 po. And the vertex is v, the coordinates of h and k. And we're going to use the formula for h, negative b over 2a is equal to, the value of b is negative 4. So we have negative times negative 4 over 2 times the value of a, which is equal to 2. And h is equal to negative times negative 4 is positive 4. All over 2 times 2 is 4. Is equal to 1 po. Or if we're going to use the other formula for h, if the given is in intercept form, we have r sub 1 plus r sub 2 all over 2. R sub 1 is equal to 3 since x minus po. And r sub 2 is equal to negative 1 since plus po siya. Plus negative 1 over 2. And h is equal to 3 plus negative 1 is 2 over 2, which is equal to 1. So, the same po yung ating value ng h po. And then, we're going to find the value of k. So, we're going to substitute the value of h to x in the given function, or you can use the formula k is equal to 4ac minus b squared all over 4a. K is equal to 4 times the value of a, 2, times the value of c, negative 6, minus the value of b, negative 4 squared, all over 4 times 2. Then, simplify po. We have k is equal to 4 times 2 times negative 6, negative 48, minus the quantity of negative 4 squared is equal to 16, since negative 4 times negative 4 is 16. All over 4 times 2 is equal to 8. And k is equal to negative 48 minus 16 is equal to negative 64. All over 8, then k is equal to negative 8 po. Since negative 64 divided by 8 is negative 8 po. we're going to write this quadratic function f of x is equal to 2 times the quantity x plus 3 squared minus 6 po. But before we're going to write it in intercept form, we're going to have it in general form. Then f of x is equal to 2, and then we're going to square this binomial x plus 3. Then we have x square of x is x squared. Then multiply x times 3 is 3x times 2, 6x. Times, yung 2 po ay yung ating constant multiplier and we do squaring of binomial. And the third term is the square of 3, which is equal to 9 minus 6 po. Simplify po natin, f of x is equal to 2. Distribute po natin yung 2 sa x squared plus 6x plus 9. We have 2x squared plus 12x, since 2 times 6 is 12x. And then 2 times 9 is 18 minus 6. Then we have f of x is equal to 2x squared plus 12x plus 12. We're going to divide this trinomial by 2 since we're going to write 2 before the parentheses. 2 times, and 2x squared divided by 2 is x squared. 12x divided by 2 is 6x. 12 divided by 2 is 6. And then we're going to factor this trinomial. We're going to use the quadratic formula to find the zeros of this trinomial. So we're going to equate x squared plus 6x plus 6 to 0 to find the values of x. We're going to use the quadratic formula x is equal to negative b, positive negative square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And then the value of b is 6, so negative 6, positive negative 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times 6 po, all over 2 times 1. Then, simplify po natin. X is equal to negative 6, positive negative. So 6 squared is 36, and the product of 4, 1, and 6 is equal to 24 divided by 2. Then, x is equal to negative 6, positive negative. Square root of 36 minus 24 is 12, all over 2. And this 12 is equal to 4 times 3, all over 2. Then we have negative 6, positive negative. Square root of 4 is 2, square root of 3, all over 2. Then, we're going to simplify. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. Positive negative. 2 divided by 2 is 1, square root of 3 po. So, ito po yung ating magiging x sub 1, x sub 2, or the roots of this trinomial or this quadratic equation. We have negative 3 plus minus the square root of 3. Then, if we're going to factor, so magkakaroon po tayo ng f of x is equal to 2 times x minus the quantity negative 3 plus square root of 3 times the quantity x minus the quantity negative 3 minus square root of 3. So, ito po yung ating intercept form of this given quadratic function. And we're going to identify the vertex. Since the given is in vertex form, we can easily determine the coordinates of the vertex. So, vertex is at, since ito po ay positive 3, magiging negative 3 po siya, then ito po ay negative 6, since dapat po ay plus k po siya. Since negative po or minus, kaya negative po. Then the axis of symmetry is x is equal to h, therefore x is equal to negative 3. And the direction of the opening of the parabola is upward, since a is greater than 0. Positive po yun. In this slide, we're going to write an equation for the parabola that passes through the points -1, -16, 2, 5, 5, and 8. We're going to use the quadratic function y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. Using the point -1, -16, we have a times -1 squared, or the quantity of -1 squared, plus b times -1 plus c is equal to -16 po. Then, simplify po natin. -1 squared is equal to +1. So, we have a. B times -1 is negative b. So, we have negative b here. Plus c is equal to -16. So, this is our equation 1 po. Using the point 2, 5, we have a times the quantity 2 squared plus b times 2 plus c is equal to 5. Then simplifying po, 2 squared is equal to 4. Then we have 4a plus 2b, since b times 2 is 2b, plus c is equal to 5. This is our equation 2 po. And using the point 5, 8, we have a times 5 squared plus b times 5 plus c is equal to 8. In simplifying po, 5 squared is 25. Then we have 25a plus 5b, since 5 times b is equal to 5b, plus c is equal to 8 as our equation 3. We're going to subtract equation 2 from equation 1. We have equation 1, a minus b plus c is equal to -16. And we're going to multiply -1 po sa lahat po ng nasa equation 2, since we're going to eliminate the value of c. So, magiging -4a po minus 2b minus c is equal to -5. So, ano pong ginawa natin? We multiply -1 in all the terms, both the left and the right-hand side of the equation 2 to eliminate c po. So, we do elimination method po. Now, we have a minus 4a is -3a, negative b minus 2b is -3b, and we're going to eliminate c since c minus c is 0. Then, equals to -16 minus 5 is -21. So, this is our equation 4 po. Then, we're going to subtract equation 3 from equation 2. We have 4a minus 2b plus 2b rather plus c is equal to 5. And our equation 3, to eliminate c, we're going to multiply all the terms in the left and in the right side of the equation by -1. So, magiging -25a minus 5b minus c is equal to -8. Then, the difference is equal to 4 minus 25 is -21a. 2b minus 5b is -3b, since unlike sign po sila. And we're going to eliminate c and equate to -3, since 5 minus 8 is -3 po. We are going to write the different equations that we have already. A minus b plus c is equal to -16. This is equation 1. 4a plus 2b plus C is equal to 5, equation 2. 25A plus 5B plus C is equal to 8. This is equation 3. And we have equation 4 here, which is equal to negative 3A minus 3B equals negative 21. And equation 5, negative 21A minus 3B is equal to negative 3. So, ito po yung ating equation 5. So, how are we going to eliminate B here? So, we're going to multiply negative 1 in all the terms in equation 5. So, magiging positive po ito, magiging positive 3B at magiging positive 3 po ito. Then, solve po natin yung A, since we are going to eliminate B here. So, negative 3B plus 3B is 0 na po. So, eliminated na po yung B. We have now negative 3A plus 21A is positive 18A. Negative 21 plus 3 is equal to negative 18. Therefore, if we're going to solve for A, we're going to divide both sides by 18 and A is equal to negative 1 po. We're going to substitute the value of A, which is equal to negative 1, in equation 4 or 5 po. Pili lang po kayo kung anong equation po yung gagamitin nyo to find for the value of B. So, I will be using equation 4. Negative 3 times negative 1 minus 3B is equal to negative 21. Then, negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. Minus 3B is equal to negative 21. So, lipat ko na lang yung negative 21 dito sa left and yung negative 3B sa right. Magiging 3 plus 21 is equal to positive 3B. And 24 is the sum of 3 and 21, which is equal to 3B, dividing both sides by 3. Then, we have B, which is equal to 8 po. So, we have already values for A, which is equal to negative 1. And B is equal to 8 po. Next po, solve na natin yung C po. So, in solving C, so you can choose either equation 1, equation 2, and equation 3 to solve for C using the values of A and B po. So, I will be choosing equation 1 since medyo simple po yung equation. A is negative 1. Then, yung B po natin is A plus C is equal to negative 16. Negative 1 minus 8 is negative 9 plus C is equal to negative 16. C is equal to negative 16 plus 9 and negative 16 plus 9 is equal to negative 7. Therefore, we have C, which is equal to negative 7. So, these are the values of A, B, and C na po. Then, substitute na po natin yung A, B, and C sa ating function f of x is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. And we have f of x is equal to the values of A is equal to the value of A, which is equal to negative 1. So, negative x squared na lang po. Plus, yung value ng B is 8x, and the value of C is negative 7. So, this is now our quadratic equation. Given the points, negative 1, negative 6, 2, 5, and 5 and 8. We are to write the equation given the graph. So, meron po tayo ditong parabola, and we're going to identify the points where the graph passes po. So, in this parabola, we have the X-Intercepts. So, dito po yung ating X-Intercepts or the zeros of the quadratic function. We have also the Y-Intercepts. So, from this given information, we can find the equation. We have the X-Intercepts, negative 2, 0, and 1, 0. Y-intercept at 0, negative 3. So, we're going to use the intercept form to find the equation of this parabola. F of x is equal to a times the quantity x minus r sub 1 times the quantity x minus r sub 2. And we have y, which is equal to negative 3, since if x is 0, the value of y is negative 3. Since f of x is equal to y, we're going to use this y-intercept, and we're going to let x equals to 0. So we have negative 3 is equal to a, 0, and since r sub 1 is negative 2, so magiging positive 2 po siya dito, since minus po ito. And times 0, positive 1 po ito, so just copy po, minus 1. Negative 3 is equal to a times 2, 0 plus 2 is 2, times 0 minus 1 is negative 1. And we have negative 3 here, equals to a, 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. Dividing both sides by negative 2, therefore, a is equal to positive 3 over 2. We have determined the value of a, which is equal to 3 over 2. Then, the function f of x is equal to 3 over 2 times x plus r sub 1. Magiging plus na po siya kasi negative 2 po. And x minus 1 since positive 1 po siya. So, ito po yung ating equation ng parabola in intercept form po. You can multiply this po to convert this equation into the general form. So let us try po. F of x is equal to 3 over 2. X times x is x squared. X times negative 1 is negative x. 2 times x is positive 2x. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. From here po, we have f of x is equal to 3 over 2x squared. So we distribute 3 over 2 to x squared. And negative x plus 2x is positive x. Since unlike sign po sila. Multiply to 3 over 2. Kaya magkakaroon po tayo ng 3 over 2x. And then 3 over 2 times negative 2. So cancel po yung 2 over 2. Magiging 1 na lang po. So 3 times negative 1 is negative 3 po. So this is the equation in the general form given this graph. Thank you for watching our video lesson for today po. And I hope that you learned something po about this lesson. Thank you very much.